concept Ian and I have had lots of discussions about are that it's not necessarily the act of writing a letter independently limited in just that act itself isn't, the most serious thing. It's when these agencies take into account the totality of the underlying conviction and such. So I'm going to try to explain kind of like the different hats the probation office wears. Like one is mitigating risk, protecting the community, but also to foster long-term positive change, which I think, Ian, you have incredible potential and intelligence, and we just want to see you successfully complete supervision, exercise your rights within the scope of lawfulness, and just be a great father, husband, productive.
The whole letter
and the rest of your life,
The whole letter thing, was suggested by the FBI themselves.
Yeah. Now let's clarify. Like they no longer are wanting that to be done.
Okay.
I understand what you were trying to do, and I understand what maybe the FBI was thinking was a good idea, but
I understand that. So at this point they've changed their mind, but I mean they have never ever talked to me besides me going in there and talking to them. And all these places that I mailed letters to, a simple response of no would have sufficed instead of getting extra law enforcement involved and you guys involved, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay, because
right.
I mean, it's just,
I think it was just the mass amount that got the attention too. It wasn't just one armory that could say no, stop, or one recruiting station. I think it sounds like it went out to quite a few, which it got statewide law enforcement involved.
Mm-hmm. And one way that I've kind of viewed this through the lens, and I think Ian really understood this after we talked about this, was in a way the National Guard could be viewed as the victim of this offense. So when you're sending multiple letters, however, even the content was, pretty benign. Like, hey, this is what I want to say this, and I'm sorry, and yes. But it's almost akin to sending a victim a letter when they're not wanting the letters anymore. And we're just trying to explore different ways to where Ian, you could feel like you can express an apology, but not that's going to cause all these concerns and such.
I don't mean to cause concerns. I just mean to apologize for literally the only crime that I've done against the one institution that I held on a pedestal in my head my whole life. And
all right, so going forward, Mr. Olson, I have to understand what we're writing for the court. You are fine if you want a copy of your pre-sentence investigation. What else do you want from us?
A list of departments and everything that I need to contact for incident reports, and maybe even contact directly to alleviate any kind of concerns that they have about me doing something stupid, which I won't ever do. But I don't want them.
Hold that thought for a second. I see we're gonna provide everything we can legally to you within the statutes and all that. But what I would, because one of my goals is to try to get you through this without getting in any more trouble, despite your best intents. What I would fear is that you'd fire off a bunch more letters to these agencies, and it's just like a never-ending thing. And before you know it, you're going to be back in a civil court again, a federal court, a municipal court, and I just would fear you would do that. Could you kind of assuage those concerns?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I understand your viewpoint. I do.
I can tell you that, there will be information of who've reached out to us in violation reports. I don't know that it's beneficial for you to reach out to them, but I can't tell you not to. Reach out to a police department and ask for records. I can tell you that I don't know that there's anyone there that is able to. It sounds like you're trying to, ask for forgiveness to the military, but ask for them to not. You're going to tell them to not worry about you. Is that what you said?
I want to convey that message because I can understand why that may be in their head.
I would just caution that maybe that would then lead them to worry about you more. As weird as that sounds.
I know it's odd to be a decent human being nowadays. I understand that.
Yeah, right. Like those who aren't notifying law enforcement that they need not worry about them. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, why is this person calling me and telling me that I'm not worried about him until he was calling me and telling me I shouldn't worry about him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's kind of weird, but that would you're probably not on their radar until you put yourself on their radar.
I understand that.
Okay. So, but it's your choice too. We're requesting that from between now and your discharge that you don't have any contact with any armories, recruiting centers, or military bases, any military personnel. By text, mail, social media.
Okay.
What is your thoughts on that?
I will respect that.
Would you be okay to waiving the hearing for that if it was only that?
Waiving the hearing and
so anytime we add or modify your conditions of supervision, you understand that you have the right to go to the judge. That's what we were going to do. That's why I was reading a report, right? We were petitioning the court to have a hearing to modify your conditions to include no contact with the military, the one that I just went through. And we were going to also extend the location monitoring until your discharge. Now, after review of your case and you being on home detention, GPS for me was a way for us to monitor you as it relates to not going to these places.
I understand that.
You seem to be articulating, at least verbally, that you're willing to not do that.
Definitely, I will respect that.
During the next 2 months. Correct?
Yep.
And I would actually like to see you off home detention before your discharge, because I think that provides you an opportunity to show us that you can comply with that. You know what I mean?
I would love that opportunity.
So if Mike and I recommend that you stay on home detention between now and discharge, and all of a sudden discharge date comes, please clip the bracelet and you're now off supervision, we're not monitoring anything. I don't think we're doing you or us or the community any really benefit of that. I would rather see you show us some compliance.
I would agree. Actions can speak far louder than words can.
Right, and right now we're really not even giving you an opportunity to do that because you're stuck on home detention.
That is correct.
All accurate?
That is correct.
Okay.
I mean, after 30 days, Mike was telling me that you were going to lift the home detention and just do GPS monitoring, but then these letters took that away, and then you wanted to, do the home detention all the way till the end.
Yeah. So I'm I'm thinking that Mike and I are maybe potentially changing our mind on that a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I could see, we might even modify that now. If you're going to agree to no contact with the military, we may modify, that we just keep you on. We would like to keep the bracelet on at least for the first 30 days with no schedule.
Would that mean I'd still get it off mid-February?
So you could come and go as you want, but we are going to be able to see if you.
Yeah, you'll be able to see where I go. You're just not restricting. me from leaving my
There you
house.
go. But we're restricting that you can't have contact with.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, you're restricting me from that part,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're not restricting me to a strict time schedule. Would that mean that I would still get the bracelet completely off to be able to show you guys, you know, goodwill, good faith, and everything before I get off? Or
So here's what I would potentially propose, and I would need to talk to Mike a little bit more about this. But you're due to discharge in what, 60 days, give or take?
Less than that,
yeah.
Okay. So I would propose that we write the court a modification that you're agreeing to waive your right to the hearing if you so choose. You understand you don't have to, and you understand you have an attorney and the right to have an attorney representing you at the hearing, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So we would modify to add the no contact with the military, including written, text, phone, all of that. And then we would look to modify the location monitoring for up to 60 days from here forward with no schedule. And I say up to, so if you then comply with it for the first 30 days, we can remove you for the last 30 days.
Removing me would be removing the bracelet, right?
Correct.
You know, having that, it almost feels like you're tagged like a piece of cattle, but I understand it, I do.
Yeah, and frankly, you're for the most part you're compliant. So, Mike, what are you thinking on the LM restrictions as it relates to time, like curfew versus open schedule versus home detention?
I like that idea, particularly
with the fact that we're trying to get him to a spot where he can comply and with less restrictions and hopefully show that he's serious about it.
Yeah. Ian, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm all for it because it would give me the opportunity to show you through action instead of just words that can always be lies. But, you know, I would respect your guys' wishes and everything, and with not contacting the military, and it would just make my life a lot easier to be able to have a little bit of free movement, even with you guys monitoring where I go. Cause it's not like I'm going to go anywhere that's, you know, bad or anything. It's just, I got kids and everything, and they get rowdy times, and I'd like to be able to take them to parks and whatnot, and when I can't do it, it's just...
I like that.
For sure.
All right, so Ian, my proposal would be that we modify here forward with the no contact with the military and with the... so we would modify your bracelet for up to 60 days with no restrictions on where your time. So you can come and go as you please. We are just monitoring your whereabouts. And if you comply with the conditions for the next 30 days...
So on or about like February, whenever it's approved. Yeah, so 3 days
so like,
forward.
You know, mid-February, probably after the February 20th holiday, we would look to remove you completely if we have no issues from here forward.
Okay, that sounds...
We wouldn't need the court's permission because we would already have it with the up to 60 days.
I understand that.
Do we think that's amenable, or do you think or would you prefer to have a hearing?
I think that is a good compromise because I don't want to waste the court's time if I don't have to.
Okay. And as it relates to information, you'll get the violation report. So we still have to file a memo to the court as it relates to that modification, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of that.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
I am also willing, I'm a little concerned, but I don't think it should cause you any issues. You should have been at least shown your pre-sentence report at sentencing to provide you with a pre-sentencing investigation.
I've never received that or gotten the chance to see it.
Yeah.
Now that may be due to my lawyer.
You don't need to provide that, but I think we're willing to do that because it's good information for you to have. I just would wish you not to disclose it to a lot of people. There's a lot of private information in it.